question we see regularly and an understandable worry for many campervan and motorhome travellers is, can I legally drink alcohol while staying in my van? Or am I at risk of getting prosecuted for drink driving? Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at all the information we could find and share top tips to help you have some confidence you are not at risk of losing your licence. So stick with us.
Don't forget to check out our other videos on everything campervan and motorhome related, from solar to water, heating to gadgets, tyres to trips. If you like this video, please do hit the thumbs up, it really does help me to know what you like, and you can ask any questions or give feedback in the comments. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of our future videos, please hit the subscribe button and clicking the bell will give you a notification when a new video goes live. Finally, if you do decide to hit the thumbs down, it would be great if you could also leave a comment so I know what you didn't like.
There are some specific laws when it comes to consuming alcohol and vehicles that we'll be considering in this video. But before we start, I just need to make it clear none of this video should be deemed as legal advice. This video shares our perspective and interpretation of the UK laws, the Crown Prosecution Service's guidance relating to those laws, and actions we've chosen to take to hopefully help protect us. You can find links to the sources and references we've used in the video description. But now, let's get on with it!
It's worth remembering that England, Wales and Northern Ireland have the most lenient drink drive limits in Europe, with Scotland, the Republic of Ireland and the rest of mainland Europe having lower limits. We're going to look closer at the laws in the UK. Other countries are likely to have different laws and guidance, and we'd recommend making sure you're aware of these as you travel. There are two notable parts to Section 5 of the Road Traffic Act 1988. The first concerns driving or attempting to drive with alcohol concentration above the prescribed limit. This says that a person who drives or attempts to drive a motor vehicle on a road or other public place after consuming so much alcohol that the proportion of it in their breath, blood or urine exceeds the prescribed limit is guilty of an offence. This could result in up to 6 months imprisonment, an unlimited fine and a ban from driving for at least 1 year, 3 years if convicted twice in 10 years. The second notable part is being in charge of a vehicle with alcohol concentration above the prescribed limit. A person who is in charge of a motor vehicle on a road or other public place after consuming so much alcohol that the proportion in their breath, blood or urine exceeds the prescribed limit is guilty of an offence. And in this case, you could get up to 3 months imprisonment, up to £2,500 fine and a possible driving ban. So let's start with driving while above the legal limit. This one is pretty clear cut, and our advice to counter this is obvious and would be to never drive after drinking alcohol. Obviously you could legally drive if you were below the prescribed limit, but knowing that is difficult. Plus, if something did happen, you would always have the question in your mind, and possibly the newspapers and courtroom, that would the accident have happened if you hadn't had that drink. So a key point to consider before having any alcoholic drink would be, is your vehicle parked in a location where there will not be any need for you to move it until you are certain you are below the prescribed limit. So not causing an obstruction, able to be legally parked there for the duration, and parking is paid for. Now let's look at attempting to drive while above the legal limit. Again, this is pretty clear. You don't have to be actually driving the vehicle to be prosecuted, but the term attempting to drive is open to interpretation. Whether you were would be down to the court's conclusion. Our recommendation, in addition to the parking point we just talked about, is to never be in possession of an ignition key and access a vehicle by the driver's door or be in the driving seat of a vehicle having consumed alcohol. The more challenging situation for van travellers is being in charge of a vehicle with alcohol concentration above the prescribed limit. What does being in charge mean? Well, again, this is open to interpretation. The Crown Prosecution Service do clarify that a person is not guilty if they prove that the circumstances were such that there was no likelihood of them driving the vehicle whilst the proportion of alcohol in their breath, blood or urine exceed the prescribed limits. Though again, the term no likelihood is open to different interpretations. There's no need for the prosecution to prove that you were likely to drive whilst unfit or over the limit. It's for you to prove there was no prospect of you using the vehicle. We're not big drinkers, so it's not often that we have to, but in certain circumstances there are some key actions we take to reduce the chance of the police having an issue with us and a court considering us to be in charge or likely to drive. And these are: exactly the same as we talked about earlier, ensure the vehicle is parked legally and paid for if applicable for a suitable amount of time to ensure that we do not have to drive whilst being at risk of over the prescribed limit. We also record our intent. We'll drop a message to someone casually saying where we are, how long we're staying for, and that we won't be driving. If we are drinking in a pub, we'll also make it clear to the staff or landlord that we'll be sleeping in the van, as if they see us approaching it after drinking, they may even call the police. We immobilise our vehicle. We have a different ignition key to our door keys so that we can leave the ignition key behind the bar or with someone else and still be able to access the van with a key that won't start it. You could do similar with a steering lock, pedal lock or wheel clamp and give the key to someone else. If we have no option to have the ignition key in the vehicle, we have a small key safe that we lock the key in before we start consuming any alcohol. After drinking and returning to the van, we'll get straight into night clothes. We absolutely won't sleep in our clothes, as being dressed could be determined as an indication we may drive. After drinking alcohol, under absolutely no circumstances will we have the ignition key in our possession, go near the driver's seat, or start the ignition or engine, as this would give a clear indication that you are in charge of the vehicle. Whilst none or even all of the above guarantee a defence, we feel they would give enough of a demonstration that we had no prospect of using the vehicle after consuming alcohol. If we were approached by the police, we think it would be enough that they would be comfortable, that we had no intention to drive, so no offence would have been committed. And if they didn't agree, we feel there would be enough of a defence in court. Thanks for watching our video, and as always, if you have any questions or feedback, please pop them in the comments below. If you find the video useful, please like, share and consider subscribing.